Chris report, and he assured me that St. Simon's Town in Boulders. Folks, this is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa.
Hey folks, welcome back. This is Chris. It's Friday evening, August 30th, 2024. Did our broadcast earlier today for Rugby Assignment, and some of you caught that. Thanks for tuning in for that. The Lions decisively beating the Bulls. And previous to that, the Cheetahs going down to a big loss to the Griquas up at Kimberley. Wow. Well, that's not why I'm out here now. I was going to do a live broadcast, do a late news broadcast this afternoon. However, as I was about to do that search for news within the previous hour, less than an hour prior, probably about 15 minutes prior to me actually starting to assemble that news to present to folks for an evening broadcast, the IOL published a story in their op-ed page. Smart move. It's not news, it's opinion. They put it in their op-ed page in which the IOL says, "No soup for you." The soup Nazi says, "No soup for you." Now, specifically, it's saying that the IOL refuses to apologize to Renaldo Gouws, claiming that they're correct. And unfortunately for them, folks, they're not correct, and they find themselves in a very actionable position legally, and don't know what kind of lawyers they've got, but they better be careful. And I understand why they don't want to apologize and why they're doubling down, because they're going to claim that they didn't know better. We acted in good faith. Now, the problem for them is that they can get away with that now. The press council is not a law enforcement organization. It doesn't have arrest powers. It doesn't have subpoena powers. It doesn't have warrants. None of that. It's not a court. It's not a part of the legal system. It is a ombudsman to investigate complaints and to reach conclusions. That said, they can only ask for material voluntarily. I can't demand that the IOL produce emails, produce messages, produce notes, source material, information on source. They can't do that. They're not a court. However, the IOL is putting themselves in a situation where they're going to find themselves potentially in a lawsuit. And there's no stream. It's going to end. Am I talking to myself? My goodness here. Sorry, folks. This is, I don't know what's going on with YouTube. They do this crap periodically. Thankfully, it didn't happen to my rugby. But maybe it's because I'm talking about Renaldo and what's going on here. But thank you to 37 people showing up, and I appreciate your patience. Let me go ahead and get to the article. I'm going to show it to you, and I'm going to read from it. I'm going to read it verbatim so you hear exactly what is said in here. So here we go. All right. No apology. The IOL will appeal Renaldo Gouws' racist video press council ruling. They just double down with that. Now, there's been an opinion found against them, stating that this isn't the case. It's not racist, but, not that it's not racist, that their behavior was atrocious, I should say, not that it wasn't racist. And specifically because they did not present the information available. So I'm going to read verbatim this to you and offer some commentary. I did do a short video on this a few moments ago for those who want to watch it, but the short video offers no interaction. Only someone can post a comment. Here you can ask me questions and ask for analysis as we go along. The Independent Line notes the recent ruling by the Press Council a week ago regarding the complaint lodged by representatives of Renaldo Gouws over our expose of a video he made containing racially charged statements and derogatory language. Now, that's true. The video did include that, but they only presented that part of the video, which is problematic. We strongly disagree with significant aspects of the finding and believe the decision to be fundamentally flawed. Really? I've read the decision. It seems quite detailed, thorough, and I don't see how it's flawed. We believe the ruling overlooks critical issues and unjustly targets the Independent Line and our journalists and maintains that our coverage was both fair and unbiased. Fair and unbiased? Has anybody read the litany of... By the way, this is only the first article they published with the altered video, which they've still refused to publish the full video. They still refuse to update the original story with additional information after they claim the story that there's a breaking story, they would update it. They also failed to disclose to the public that they gave Renaldo Gouws just 1 hour to respond to this and didn't share the video with him that they accused him of making. So, we believe the ruling overlooks critical issues and unjustly targets the IOL and our journalists and maintains that our coverage is fair and unbiased. Well, it doesn't target you unfairly and overlooks critical issues. Well, I think it overlooks things because it has no choice. Legally, they're not a law enforcement agency. Therefore, they cannot subpoena or issue a warrant or get a warrant to get to the truth of the matter. So therefore, they're stuck in what they can rule. And that works in your favor, IOL, because they have to take the Independent Line at its word. Now, Should we trust the IOL? You judge for yourself. Have you read the news coverage in there? Much of it one could find wanting. And quite frankly, let's be very clear about something that's actually happened here in this video. As I said at the very outset, I didn't publish the video. Some social media content creators on YouTube published the video. Correct me. I stand for correction if I'm wrong, and I don't mean to besmirch, but I believe that Citizen Concern is one of those people that played the video in its entirety, not just the edited portion. I didn't do that. If I'm wrong about that, I'll apologize. But I was sworn I saw it there. But the point is that some social media content creators have published the video in its entirety, and others have published just the edited portion. I refuse to publish any of it because there's nothing valuable to be gained from it. It's simply a video that's intended to spark controversy, as it was when it was first published 15 years ago. And it did exactly that 15 years ago. Then it was rehashed about 5 years ago, and people threatened Renaldo, and the media dismissed it out of hand. It was held this time until he was a member of parliament to intentionally poison race relations, undermine the government of national unity, and to besmirch, slander Renaldo Gouws. That was the purpose. That's why this video is held. Now, I'm not saying the IOL did that. I'm saying that the source of the video obviously did that. This isn't exactly something, so ask yourself this question. 400 members of parliament, okay? 400 members of parliament. Why did the video, which people have known about for years, it was the subject of a media story about young YouTubers are disgruntled, disillusioned with South Africa back in 2012. That story made mainstream media back then. This video also surfaced and made attention 5 years ago. Why is it that only after the election and only after the ANC is forced into a coalition with the DA and other parties, only then, and among the 400 members of parliament, only 2 are targeted? Well, let me tell you something. If I sat down at a media house in South Africa like News 24 or the Mail and Guardian or Newsroom Africa or the IOL, and I had a staff and editorial and the resources, computers, and people available to dedicate to go into the backgrounds and the activities and social media of over 400 members of parliament, I guarantee you that by the end of 1 week, we could find suspect material on at least 25% of those people that raises questions about their objectivity, their honesty, their fairness, their adherence to the rule of law, and their racial positions. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Especially if we use the flimsy basis that the IOL used. And we just take information out of context and allow ourselves to be punked by using altered material to prove a case that simply isn't true. First off, ask yourself this question. The breathless coverage of Renaldo Gouws by the media in South Africa, by social media contributors and content creators, by the Twitterati. Ask yourself this question. Has any of them, one of them, ever said, what has he done? Does anyone know this guy? Has anyone ever spoke to him? Has anyone ever seen this behavior before? Isn't it fascinating that the only videos that have surfaced, despite Renaldo doing thousands of videos at this stage, over 15 years online, are videos that were altered or were simply a lie about what he stated? The other video was put up, he didn't say anything racist. They called it racist because they didn't like what he had to say. So that one fell by the wayside. This one, they smear him with other nonsense. Isn't it fascinating that there's not even a question about, was Renaldo Gouws ever done anything wrong to a black person? Anyone ever asked that question? Koob Lauren says, typical left-wing media, what happened to forgive and forget in today's society? Well, it's not even a question to forgive and forget, Koob. The bottom line with this is that it's an altered video, which when it first broke, we had very little information. I didn't have any information from Renaldo or any sources, and I had not seen the video. When I saw the video, I said, that doesn't seem right. That seems to me like it's been clipped. There's something missing in front and after it. That was my initial analysis. Then on Twitter, someone surfaced the original video. It wasn't from Renaldo, it was someone else. And I watched the video in its entirety. I think later on, Renaldo did send me a copy of the entire video, or he did send me a link to it. So I think he sent me the link to that tweet after I'd already found it. Something like that. I don't recall exactly. It's been a few months. But I saw the video in its entirety, and that's exactly what happened. Renaldo was bumhurt, with good reason, that Julius Malema and Jacob Zuma could sing "Kill the Boer" and kill about killing white people. You know, imagine, he said, if you were on the other end of that. What if you were the subject of horrific things that someone said that targeted you based on things? And he said, like the following. And then he went through that little rant, and then he stopped and he goes, and he paused, and he said, but of course, that's nonsense. That's wrong. I don't believe any of that stuff. But if you were the receiving end of that, would you like that? How is that any different than saying "kill the Boer," which is the point he made? That was the video. Now, as I've said all along, I don't think it was an appropriate video. I probably wouldn't have done that sort of video, even at that age. But for me, being 26 is a long time ago at this point. Yeah. So, no, it's not AI, Alan. AI is a problem, but this isn't what happened here. It's an alter video. Let's be clear about this, because the race hustling black supremacists and white liberals are running around going, oh, he lied. He said it was AI. No. I don't know what Renaldo and what the DA were talking about. They never should have said that. What they should have said is no comment until you show us the video, and then we can comment. And he should have said, quite frankly, that's not the entire video. That's not what happened. I mean, that would, there's lots that we could compare it to a lot of things. But the point is that what they should have done is said, it's not the video. It was taken out of context. And but the problem with South Africans, particularly black supremacist South Africans and white liberals, is their undying love of any time that somebody says anything critical of someone that they favor, it's racist. Now, the language used there was very coarse, harsh, inappropriate language, but it wasn't used to attack a person. It was used in an academic fashion. And I saw the little self-wanking lunatic who published an op-ed on one of the web, was it Daily Maverick or somewhere like that, about how this was inappropriate. There's no such thing as academic. That guy didn't watch the whole video. I mean, I just read John LeBan's book, in which he used the K word over and over again. There was a part of South Africa named after the K word, Blankeria, and not diarrhea, but K-area in South Africa. That was a region that the British controlled. So are you not allowed to talk about that? Are you not allowed to talk about the misuse of the terms? This is nonsense. The bottom line here is the IOL refuses to apologize. And I know why they refuse to apologize, because they've been caught with their fingers in the cookie jar. Follow the stories. Follow what they did. And I raised the question at the very beginning. Why haven't they published the full video? Why haven't they published a retraction saying that we published the story? Because they think they've got him. Oh, we've got him. He uttered these words. Just like the nonsense with the little slimy, self-wanking hater who took a comment that I made years ago and lies about it and claims I said something I never said. Never said it. But they took a snippet. Now, it wasn't even anything remotely like that. But the point is that this is what they do. You don't need even AI. You can just take clips of people. You take it out of context. I mean, like the whole thing with Donald Trump, when that guy was acting like a fool, and Donald Trump did this, and they said, oh, he's mocking a disabled person. No, a simple review of footage of Donald Trump that goes back for years is that when someone acted like an idiot, he's always doing this. He's like, oh, they're idiots. That's what he did. He wasn't mocking the disabled person. People are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yes, it's cancel culture. South Africans created this garbage, and they blame us for it. We adopted it from you. Alan Batten says the full video should be showed. Renaldo has to use his 3 degrees to do good for his community. Well, Renaldo has been doing good for his community. By all accounts, every person I've met, I'm sure there are people who are dishappy. There's always somebody that's unhappy. But every person I've met in his ward, where he was a ward counselor in Nelson Mandela Bay, was thrilled with the performance he did. And I watched Renaldo. I've watched him over the course of many days on multiple visits over the course of the past 3 years, 2022, 23, and 24. Met with Renaldo during my various travels across South Africa, and I have seen his phone ring incessantly. I've seen him go and repair potholes. Nobody paid him for that. There's no newspaper there taking pictures, giving them credit for it. He got nothing out of it other than taking care of his ward. And I've watched people call him up while we're out in the middle of nowhere complaining about things that frankly aren't even his responsibility. South Africans, like Americans, are ridiculous. They expect their political leaders to do everything for them. Yep. All right, let me see what's in the chat here. And Hendo, Arctic, Dylan, Comert, because I did say that's why I'm doing the live, get a chance to interact here. Linhorn, Bernard, welcome Bernard. Gypsy Backpackers, Arbot, hey Arbot. Clive Streak, Fence Post says, maybe they know to countersue them will take time. Was our owner also not in trouble with the courts? Yeah, he was, multiple times. They think they got a beef with Goulam on Twitter. They got yeah. No. They're already in a beef over the Goulam account, and they are going to lose their ass over the PAPA violations that they've committed. And they denied. Did you watch the video? Like the solemn looked like robots. You know, there's the Indian fellow and the white lady.
Nothing wrong. We adhere to journalistic standards. We did nothing wrong. Goulam is an evil account, and it's evil because the ANC wants us to tell you that it's evil because it's exposing their fraud. We can't have that.
God, man, that woman, unbelievable. Not someone that's accustomed being in front of the camera. Bernard says, some idiot made a boo-boo. A guy's life is stuff. Yeah, justice my ass. Correct, Bernard, that's right. It's not a boo-boo. The question here, if I were an attorney and I were South African, ho-ho! Boy, I'll tell you what, I'd be engaged in some serious big guns. Where's Harry Nell from AfriForum's attorney? Let's get him involved. I'm going to tell you what. The question here isn't, did they make a boo-boo? Of course they made a boo-boo. The question here is whether it was intentional and malicious. And I'm telling you, based on the response and based on all the information available publicly, a reasonable and prudent person would clearly conclude that this was potentially malicious. Did, in fact, they have the whole video? And here are the questions that aren't even... So when the IOL says that it was treated unfairly by the press council, that's horse manure. Let me tell you why it's horse manure. The press council didn't state or demand, did you receive the whole video and then follow through it? Because they have no evidence. Did you alter the video? They don't even make that allegation in there. But at some point you have to ask yourself the question. First off, why would the Wayback Machine copying Ronaldo's video in its entirety be available for download, but only that short segment, not the entire 6-minute, 22-second video? So that's number one. Number two, the reason that they're running this narrative is because they're inclined to believe it or want to push it. They'll believe anything. It's the same thing. I did a video today about the South African Captured Human Rights Commission, and they're showing up and participating in a protest at a courthouse in Limpopo over the charges against the gentleman Olivier and the other two who are being charged in the murder and then tossing of bodies of two women into a pigsty in Limpopo. They've been charged in that case. And by the way, it's funny how they held them until Friday for a hearing so they could deny them bail so they could keep them in jail over the weekend again. Yeah. Anyway, funny how that always happens with minority South Africans. Other people, they get arrested right away. They post bail for $5 or $20 equivalent and they're out. But, it's always the minorities who are only charged or their case only gets to the docket on a Friday and it can't be resolved. So they're kept in prison for several more days. Funny how that works. And the poor, I'm sure that happens too. But anyway, so that story, the South African Human Rights Commission, which is a body supposed to be promoting and addressing human rights concerns in South Africa, participated in a protest. That is not the role of the 160 people who are paid to work at the South African Human Rights Commission. Their job is not that at all. If you watch my other video, you'll see exactly what their job is based on their own statements and on the South African Constitution and South African law from 1994. It's all very clear what they're supposed to do. They're not charged with participating. Therefore, they have obviated or they've negated their charter. They are not a political activism organization. It is not their job to demonstrate against or for something. That's what political activists do. That's what political parties do. That is not what bodies that are meant to hold the public accountable and the government accountable are supposed to do. The public protector isn't supposed to be out there demonstrating. The auditor general isn't supposed to be out there demonstrating. And neither is the South African Captured Human Rights Commission. And where is the media? Where is any single media outlet in South Africa calling out that clear abuse of authority? The South African Human Rights Commission is supposed to be investigating and dealing with these issues, not simply pursuing things that fit a racist agenda, which appears to be what they're all about. case after case after case targeting minority South Africans. Yes, there have been a few cases of black South Africans who've been accused, but they're nobodies. They're nobody important. They're nobody, and their life isn't turned upside down, and it's resolved, and they give a minimal fee when they've committed racial crimes, by and large. Not entirely, by and large. But this case in Limpopo, why can't the courts resolve this? Why does the South African Human Rights Commission have to be there? And where was the South African Human Rights Commission when Brendan Horner was tortured and murdered and his dignity was destroyed? Where was the South African Human Rights Commission when Edward Neumeister was hacked to death with a panga in broad daylight at his closed farm during lockdown? Brutally butchered. Still no killer on that case. Where was the captured South African Human Rights Commission when Sifatso Pule was shot in the chest and hung from a tree 8 months pregnant? Nowhere to be found. Yet here they weigh in on a crime. This isn't even a human rights crime, unless you make the argument that someone's dignity is taken away, but that's not a right. They were nowhere to be found. The IOL has no choice but to issue this statement or simply not issue any statement. They're doubling down because they've been caught with their fingers in the cookie jar. So back to my point. Was it malicious? Was it intentional? Arbot's membership. Thank you, Arbot. 30 months. Wow. Thanks to the member for the free membership. Oh, here you go. Is it malicious? Did the IOL alter the video? I don't know that they did. But I do know by their own admission, by the press council's determinations based on their own admission, that they received the full video at some point. And to this date, they have still not published it. They've also refused to publish an article updating, saying that the video that we published was a small portion of a 6-minute 22 video in which the context was not applied. And in the context, this is what the person attempted to do. They also did not indicate that they contacted Renaldo. They didn't say, no, we refuse comment. Only in subsequent articles they mentioned things like that. So, they can deny it all they want. Seems like a hit piece political website. They were bought out. They were not maybe brightness crap the DA before it gets too. Yeah, no, it is hits. Major Chronic, welcome back to you. Dylan Combrick. Nixter's Movie House, Justice for Justice. What justice? Oh, yeah, gotcha. Garrett, dishonesty and deceit is disgrace. It is. And this is what's so especially egregious about it. People in law enforcement, people in uniform, people in the medical field are supposed to be honest and forthright. People in the media are supposed to be honest and forthright. IRA was bought out. You make it seem like they're a real news site. I read the original IOL, was a fan, and when they disabled comments at some point, sold, did they not? Fence posts, let's be clear about something. I'm not making out like the IOL is a legitimate site. I'm also not claiming News 24, Daily Maverick, or Mail and Guardian, or Times Live are legitimate news sites. They are, however, the media landscape of South Africa. They do drive opinion and uproar. And look what happened. Renaldo Gouws was suspended by his party. For what? For what? They suspended him from party activities before even doing an investigation. He was guilty of wrongdoing even though he hasn't been found guilty of wrongdoing in the eyes of the DA. And I said that's fine given the political context. I understand why they do it. I don't think it's right, but given South Africa's context, I understand why they did it. But look at Paul Mashatile. The guy is accused of multiple corruption cases. And he's still the vice president. Mayor Palapala, still in office. Clearly complicit in crimes. The list goes on and on. Julius Malema, multiple crimes. The list goes on and on. Roman is already a target. He's already been targeted. I've done multiple videos on that. Yeah, so fence posts, it's not about saying the IOL is legitimate. It's about refuting the narrative because that becomes the story. I mean, when certain self-pleasuring, extreme right-wing lunatics didn't like my commentary, even though I'm right of center, they didn't like my commentary because they have penis envy because I was getting more traction to them. So they falsely reported my videos. That caused me problems on my old channel. And then I lost interviews with people because they contacted them and said that I work for the CIA. What kind of fucking moron believes that shit? Honestly. Some stupid people out there. Stupid people out there. And next, Dixter says, Ronaldo made a point, but the opposition undermined it. I'm not sure about that. Ronaldo's point is being made crystal clear. That's the irony. The point that Renaldo hoped to achieve with that video 15 years ago, he's proving it 100% correct. This is exactly what's going on here. Pablo Charlie. Oh, kind of there. Okay, good to see you. Yeah, there it is. Bernard says Ronaldo actually proved his point in all honesty. Yep. Racial double standards is the norm in South Africa. Well, and the United States too. Look at the behavior of segments of society and what they do to get away. The question is, if the captured majority rights council votes against hosts, what legal can... what do you mean majority rights council? South African Human Rights Council is not a body. Okay, so let's be clear, fence post. The South African Human Rights Council has no say over Renaldo Gouws. They can do investigations and publish them. They can go to court in the Equality Court, which is what they've done. They filed a lawsuit in the Equality Court against Renaldo Gouws. So it's in the legal system, not in that commission's hands. Full video should be... Yeah, actually. I'm way behind now in the chat. Sorry about that, folks. Sorry about that. There's, just to be accurate, there's no GNU, there's tokenism. Yeah, but it's a coalition, which is what I've said from the very beginning, not a government national unity. And that coalition has some very effective ministers in it, and they're accomplishing things for the benefit of all South Africans. But yes, the DA got punked. They only got 19% of the ministerial seats, and they had over 30% of the vote. Yep. Why can we not call them Majority Rights Council instead? Well, people internationally are stupid. Hey, Fun Sale Boyce, and welcome to you. 100% correct, he says. I was on the stream but didn't see who bought it that day. Was working and listening. Saddest part of all this, says Bernard, is less than 4% is your target. Huh? I don't understand that. Less than 4% is your target. Whose target? My target? And 4% of what? Oh, you mean people who are racist? Yeah, maybe that's what you're getting at. Christoph Smuts, welcome to you. Chris Ehlers, you don't like what someone says, lump it. Exactly. Gregory Fouché, good evening to you. Eric Bouchard, the shocking thing to me is that people still believe that political leaders and news houses are honest in any way, and that you, as a citizen, have a say. People are all pushed. Yeah, exactly. No, you're right about that. Great rant. But South Africa is a proud banana republic, still healing from being oppressed. Cut them some slack. It's not that bad, right? Yeah, I know you're being facetious there. Ronaldo distanced himself from that video when he removed it from his platform. Well, he probably took a lot of flame and thought maybe I'll just take it off so I'm not bothered. I don't know. I didn't talk to Ronaldo about what he did 15 years ago or when he took it off there. Yeah. So, yeah, it's anyway. I mean, there's all kinds of things to this video. The fact it was 15 years ago, the fact that that the IOL misleads people, and the fact that the Human Rights Commission misleads people. Let me see if I can find the Human Rights thing. Or did I get rid of it? I had that window open earlier and went to their actual, what they filed. So let me see if I can find that again. Is it there? No, it's not there. Hang on. South African Human Rights Council. In their press release. South African Human Rights Commission. I keep saying council now. It's commission. So I went to that. I went to their page. Hello. They're very slow. Very slow. So I went to their page. And I went to news, I think it was. Or media statements. Where was it? News? I think it was news I went to. Okay. No, that's not it. Maybe it was media statements. Media statements. Oh, geez, they're publishing something every darn day. So I got to do a search. I did a search on Renaldo and him. That's what it was. Okay, there you go. Renaldo host. That took me to it. Media statement. There you go. June 24th. So I got to go back a ways. So here's the problem. This is what you have going on here. So here's what they say. This is the Human Rights Commission. Takes Mr. Renaldo Gouws to the Equality Court for alleged hate speech and utterances. And the problem they have here is that given Mr. Gouws' position as a member of parliament, his alleged actions carry even greater weight and responsibility, as he's expected to uphold and embody the principles enshrined in the Constitution, including human dignity, equality, and non-discrimination. But the video isn't what the member of parliament published. The video is what a young man 15 years ago published. So that's just dishonest. Seriously, the DA suspended because of accusations, yet the ANC appoints ministers. Yeah, well, the MK is appointing ministers, or appointing members of parliament who are in corruption cases. Yep. Hey, Paulie, how's it going? False claims by those lefty media destroy people's lives. Exactly, that's the problem, James. So it's not just live and let live. It's people's lives are upended and destroyed. We also see what happened to in the case of the Sky account on Twitter, and what happened to Amy. Her life was completely destroyed. She lost her job, even though she committed no offense, because someone lied about her. The people that lied about her ought to be in prison for their conduct. They stalked and destroyed her life, cost her so grievously, so much so that she's never even on social media anymore. And it's much worse than that, what happened to her. Paul Storm says, I just don't want Harry and Meghan here again. I didn't know they're there. Where is Nelson Mandela? Who's Nelson Mandela? Something with the DA and police and government is happening today. Hopefully federal police control. Yeah, that's... So in his speaking yesterday at Parliament, Cyril Ramaphosa said he'd had enough. They're going to do something about the crime in the Western Cape, and they say they're going to work with the province and the city of Cape Town to end this nonsense. So I've got that story. Enough is enough is what he said. So let me just cover that very quickly. So Cyril Ramaphosa, as if he has any credibility, says enough is enough. He declares war against gangsters, extortionists, and construction mafia. The problem with that is that gangsters, extortionists, and construction mafia are the key constituency of the African National Congress. It's who they rely on. Gangsters, construction mafia, criminals, extortionists. That's their key constituency. So if they declare war on them, they're going to be screwed. You think they got a low ranking now? They're going to go even further down. I don't know the status of South Africa's human rights violations. What I mean is that when you declare speech to be criminal, that's a human right violation. And that's what South Africa does. Your constitution doesn't allow you to say bad things like the K word, which is simply Arabic for unbeliever. Its use was inappropriate. But, it's like people appropriating the Confederate flag. It's not a Confederate flag. It's the stars and bars. It is the battle flag of the Army of Northern Virginia, not the Confederate flag. So that's misappropriating. Or the Hakenkreuz, which is not a Nazi symbol. They appropriate it from Aryans and from Danes and others. Yep. So... Chris, well, that's what I said in my other video. I said the problem with the media is when they reported this story, it started with IOL, of course, who else, that they left context out. Now, they never stated they didn't have any more detail or more information. They simply told the story, and they as if these farmers must have brought these women on the farm and shot them dead and threw them in the pigsty. They didn't bother to mention until subsequent stories did it come out in other publications that these people trespassed on the property. They were stealing food because they say it's food waste. Well, it's still theft. It doesn't matter. That's for the pigs. But the bigger issue here is, why are South Africans forced to eat thrown away food meant for pigs? I thought the ANC cared about South Africans, especially our people. Ramaphosa was delivering a keynote address today at the national government. He signed a deal to boost the number of police officers to curb crime in the Western Province. He said, it's a very historic moment where we're taking decisive action to combat crime here in Cape Town, which has become the capital of criminality, gang violence, murder, and other related criminal activities, including drug peddling and abuse. Our people have had enough of criminals terrorizing communities, and by signing this cooperative agreement, we say enough is enough. And once again, he's only talking about black South Africans when he says our people. South Africans have had enough. Cape Townians have had enough. Western Capers have had enough. Not our people. He's so full of it. And this comes after, I stay all the time in Milnerton. I also go to the restaurant there on Woodbridge Island, right next to it. Shootout in Milnerton. 4 killed and 4 wounded as cops confront gunmen. Wow. 4 men were shot dead, 4 wounded during a shootout with police officers investigating an alleged extortion ring. The 8 suspects were allegedly on their way to commit mass shooting. Western Cape Police spokesperson Brigadier Novella Potelwa said, as police comb the scene, investigation continued. Further details are expected to emerge. Wow. A SAPS operation by Western Cape Task Force following intelligence about wanted alleged extortionists led to a shootout between police and suspects who were driving in a minibus last night in Milnerton. Wow. I know exactly where that's at. My goodness. Yep. According to preliminary reports, the suspect shot at the police who were following the vehicle, and officers returned fire. Wow. 4 firearms and rounds of ammunition were seized from the vehicle. It's just astounding that people just start, if you're being followed by the police and you start shooting at police in a clearly marked police vehicle, what the hell is wrong with these people? Not very bright. Who funds the South African Human Rights Commission? It's the government of South Africa, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what's happening, fence posts, with the police in Cape Town. Pablo Charlie says, we need Gate and Renavad Mashab and the ACDP leaders to step up in line. Well, there you go. Eric Borchards laughing. Enough is enough. Where have we heard that before? Yeah. I don't know about a statute of limitations. If, like, for instance, if you say something, you utter something, is there a statute of limitations? There's a statute of limitations on most crimes except for capital crimes. So it's not a capital crime, but I don't know. Let me see. Is there a statute of limitation racist speech in South Africa? Let's see what it says. Well, they changed this in 2023, so let's see what it says. Yeah. Privacy, got it. Okay. Penalty for the offense is a fine and up to 5 years imprisonment. What's the statute of limitations? I don't see anything about statute of limitations here. Anyway, I don't know that answer. I'd have to have a lawyer tell you that. Anyway, promotion of equality. It's nonsense. Nonsense. Been doomed since 94, says Dylan. Ramaphosa is once again full of hot air. Nothing will be done. You're correct, Pierre. Christoph Smuts says that there have been even cases of people who don't use social media having their lives destroyed by failed doxing events where they identify anonymous accounts by falsely accusing people who are apolitical. Yep, no, that's happened too. Yeah, that's why you can't escape the internet. You know, you can stay off social media, but your bank, your vehicle registration, your voting, everything it's all online and it's all compromised. Yep. They want their kangaroo courts. Yep. Freedom Front Plus also great. What's this? Just read now. It's one colored farmer, one white manager, and not a farmer. Well, a farm manager is a farmer. He's a farmer, okay? And the farm worker is a farmer. The picture I saw correctly, they're making out as if it was 3 white farmers. No, I haven't seen that. They said 3 people, and they've clearly identified the gentleman who has a name that's not European. So, yep. Yeah, that's clearly. So that's not what's going on. But again, that story, what's going on there is it's that the South African Human Rights Commission has no business being there. Their job is if there's no justice after the fact or people are unhappy with level of justice or file a complaint, they can investigate after it's over to see if there's a human rights violation. But I mean, arguably, murder is a human rights violation, is it not? We have a right to life. It's an innate human right. It's an innate natural right. So when a life is taken, the South African Human Rights Commission should be lodging complaints 26,000 times a year. 26,000 South Africans murdered per year now. It just keeps rising. When I first started talking about this about 4 years ago, the number of murders in South Africa was 14,000 per year. Now it's 26,000. 26,000 murders a year. It's just getting worse. Unbelievable. But hey, anyway. So there you have it. But again, once again, the purpose of this live stream was to talk about a couple things, but specifically to talk about the situation with the Independent Online refusing to apologize. They refuse to apologize. Right? They're not going to apologize to Renaldo. Now, that's despite the fact that they have been breach of clause 1.8, 1.9, 2.1, and 10.2 of the press code. Yep. And they've been given all kinds of things to do. Now, they have a right to appeal, and that's what they're doing. They're appealing it. But this was a very arrogant, all caps, no apology. They could have just not said anything and filed their appeal, or they could have done an op-ed saying that we do not agree with the conclusions of the press ombudsman at the press council. Therefore, the Independent Line is going to undertake to appeal their decision in the Renaldo Gouws case. That's what they should have done. But no. You know, when they do this nonsense, this is arrogance of the highest order. Arrogance of the highest order. Let me just read some of the arrogance. First of all, no apology. No soup for you. That's rude. Then they go on, we continue to stand firmly against racism and any form of hate speech. Well, apparently not in your own articles. Read some of the stuff by that guy who writes these race-based articles all the time. That guy who wrote the original article on Renaldo is the one who does it all the time. So apparently you don't hold your own staff and editors to the same standard you claim you hold the public to. We remain steadfast in our mission to hold accountable those who propagate divisive and harmful ideologies. Do you mean like the Independent Online? Seriously? And we will not be deterred in our pursuit of truth and justice. You have no interest in truth and justice, Lance. Lance Witten is the editor at IOL. You clearly have no interest in the truth because the press ombudsman and the press council found that you violated the standards of journalistic integrity. You had the truth and you refused to share it, which begs the question, was it intentional? Did you alter the video or were you punked by your source? And again, let's just cover one thing very quickly here. It's now been a full week. Somebody tell me which media outlet has published the story about Renaldo Gouws being vindicated by the press council. Now, you might see something over the weekend or on Monday because now the IOL has put the cat out of the bag. Well, we're not going to apologize. But News 24, Mail and Guardian, Newsroom Africa, SABC, Jacaranda, East Coast Radio, the IOL, the Mail and Guardian, the Daily Maverick. Not one of these outlets has run a story telling you, the public, that the press council has found the Independent Online in breach of the press code of ethics under 4 different offenses. Not one media outlet. A week. Now, that reminds me of the fact that it took the media over 3 weeks before they realized that Ramon Kabanak was the chief of staff for John Steenhuisen. Well, I knew that. So, but that's the point, RJ. That's the point. The media are lazy and incompetent. And they're promoted by the likes of YouTube and Twitter. You're going to say, no, that's not true. Oh, it is. Now, that stuff gets a lot of attention on Twitter. Yep. Nobody wants to take it serious enough. Okay, what's this thing? Go voting. What's this? Media is the mouthpiece. Yep. Okay, they are both malicious or incompetent. Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, that's what's going on here, folks. That is what's going on here. Think about it. Think about it for just a second. This is insane. So they offer no apology whatsoever. They're not going to apologize. But the Independent Online didn't have to run an op-ed to tell you that. All they had to do was file an appeal with the press council. I mean, if I go to get my fishing license and it's denied, I'm not going to come on here and make a video going, well, I've been denied my fishing license because they said I looked ugly, and I'm not going to apologize for being ugly. Stupid. They should have just filed their appeal. But no, they want to continue this narrative, and it's not a winning argument. It is with a segment of society, but it isn't for people who deal in the truth. There is no AWB. Well, there is, but there's no political party. Pierre Bond says something, RJ, all the above. Yeah, all the above. Yep, that's what we're saying. So, yeah. But again, a week later, seriously, let's see how long this goes before a media outlet in South Africa actually reports what the press council determined on August 23rd. It's now August 30th, 1 week later. To be fair, it wasn't publicly posted until Tuesday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's 4 days. 4 business days. 4 business days have been posted, and not a single media outlet has covered the story. Is Marola FM even covered it? What about Boer Media? Have they covered the story? I don't know. That's not mainstream media. I don't know. Herman Mashaba, Gate McKenzie. Okay. Eagles, Dirty Laundry. What? I don't know what Paul's writing about there. Yeah. No, but honestly, ask your questions. Ask yourself this question too. Why isn't the media reporting the story? Look, you could be anti-Ronaldo. You could believe that he said racist things. But if you're in the news media, it does not free you or obviate your responsibility to report the news truthfully and honestly. And timely. A week. In the meantime, news media outlets have been running stories. Renaldo Gouws, racist accused MPs. resumed his work and social media content, black supremacists. Oh, the evil racist Renaldo Gouws is back in Parliament. How can he be in Parliament? He never left Parliament, dumbass. Never left Parliament. He's not been suspended for anything by the government of South Africa or by Parliament. He's committed no ethics violations as a member of Parliament. No criminal acts. Therefore, he's not been suspended by Parliament. He's only been suspended because they're a bunch of wusses of the DA. I don't disagree with it. I understand why they're wusses. And they suspended him from party activities. So he can't go to a rally. Better off not going to a rally. Pablo, why are you going on and on about this Republican alliance? It isn't going to happen. It's not enough votes. South Africans are comfortable in their misery, just like Americans, apparently. Kamala Harris is ahead of Donald Trump. Give me a break. First, we're going to win. Good God. Good God. Anyway, so, yeah. So, again, I think that's the most telling situation here is that the press... Now, we'll see how true things really are here. All right? So let's see if, in fact, over the weekend or into Monday or Tuesday, News 24 and another website, another news publication runs a story about this because they're lazy or they're intentionally covering the story up. I'll allow for the fact that they're lazy and they don't care. They don't follow up. I've been following up on the story every week, ever since it broke. Asking the source, Renaldo, reading the media, trying to contact people in South Africa in the know who would know the status of this to see what's going on. But they've accomplished what they wanted. They've tarred a white South African who speaks Afrikaans as a racist, which means that obviously all must be, right? And that's what they hope to achieve. And they've undermined the credibility of the Government of National Unity and the Democratic Alliance in particular, especially with the nonsense going on. The video by, the op-ed by Gabriel Kraus on Roman Kamenek, the op-ed by Rebecca Davis in the Daily Maverick, which slanders or libels Renaldo Gouws. And there's no reason to follow up. We wouldn't want to follow up with the truth, would we? Yeah, of course not. Raising video is fair journalism, although unfortunate, obscuring facts maliciously. No, it's not, RJ. No, it's not. No, it's not. Do you know why it's not fair? I'll tell you why it's not fair. Because it was dishonest, and it's clearly a political hit job. It's clearly libel, intended to slander and maliciously attack a person. Because if I wrote that story, this is how the story should have been written, okay, about that video. People have contacted our publication and warned us that there is a video in which Renaldo Gouws is accused of spewing racist language and attacking black people. We've investigated this story. We've come in possession of a 6-minute and 22-second video in which, in fact, the Member of Parliament 15 years ago did spew these words. However, the context was ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba. Additionally, this issue has twice previously made national headlines. In 2012, when such and such media outlet ran a story about young South African social media content creators, and Renaldo was featured in there. This video was mentioned and played. Not the profanity, but it was mentioned in there. And it was a discussion about it. Subsequently, in 2019, this video also rose to national prominence when it was raised again. Renaldo Gouws addressed it and said that it was taken out of context. We've tried to contact Renaldo Gouws. However, we were unable to contact him given the short amount of time to publish this article. Now that is journalistic integrity. That is the truth. Not this shit that they published. Now, so RJ, disagree. What I just did is legitimate journalism. And it's fair. But quite frankly, there was no probative value to releasing this story. It wasn't a matter of time. It wasn't a question of the assassination of Babita Deokaran and somebody was going to destroy evidence, make shell casings disappear, delete messages, remove computers that stored the information that led to the assassination of Babita Deokaran. It wasn't time sensitive. The election was over. The Government of National Unity was formed. This story could have waited a day or two. There is no legitimate argument that this was of such probative value that must be published within 1 hour. They contacted Renaldo Gouws and gave him 1 hour. The same journalist who, according to Renaldo, threatened him 5 years ago. That's not legitimate. That's not journalism. That's sensationalism. Yes, Byron and I are both trying to get the truth out. That's true. But I've been the one that's been trying to get the truth out of Renaldo since the outset, and my analysis has been 100% accurate. And I've also not let Renaldo off the hook. I've also criticized him about the video. Now, Byron has a vested interest because of the relationship at Morning Shot to cover Rahman. I've been covering it too. And I'll let you know that I've received messages from people thanking me for my coverage. This BS is going to backfire. The rotten media is the elephant in the room. You are correct about that, Garrett. They cry 100 back dating this. What's this? Every hour at the IOL is amateur hour. I know that's good. It may be journalistic integrity, but it is not headlines and clickbait, and that's all. Exactly, Liv, and you're correct. And that's what it's all about. Well, it's not all about that. I believe this was an effort to scupper the government of national unity because the people who are behind this are so stupid that they think that that was going to cause it to fall. Really? What, did you think that claiming that Roman Kabanak is a right-wing extremist, provocateur, shit stir was going to cause the government of national unity to fall apart either? Not going to happen. I mean, if the ANC with a straight face can keep Cyril Ramaphosa as president, despite the fact that he perverted the means of justice and the customs and currency violations, those are the ones we know about, if they're able to keep Ace Magashule for a decade, despite the hundreds of indictments against him, if they're able to keep the former mayor of, was it Busaziwe? No, that's not Busaziwe, that's the other one. The former mayor of Itaquini for years, and then even appoint her to the provincial council, provincial legislature as an MEC. They have no shame. No shame. This isn't going to cause this to go. If it was just the DA government, if they had a 50% majority and it was a DA government, yeah, this might lead to people going away, but it isn't going to happen. IOL should grow some nads and redeem themselves and invite Ronaldo. Yeah, that's the other thing. Why don't they interview Ronaldo? Why not? Why are none of the people, well, he won't give an interview right now, I guarantee that, but why are none of the people who wrote these stories about Renaldo contacting him for comment and asking him for him to appear on their programs from the outset? Now, there may be one or two that did that, but most did not. Chris doesn't care for context. Yeah, I can see that from your comments. Werner Krieger says, just want to say I really respected that you called him out on it, even if you agree that it was within a context. It's proper journalism, no matter your opinion. Yeah, thank you, Werner. No, and I did. I called Renaldo out. I said the video was inappropriate. There is context on when it occurred, but I mean, in the South African context, if you're over the age of 18, you're a high school graduate, you ought to be cognizant. And I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about 15, 20 years ago as well. You ought to be cognizant in the South African context that you can't say things like that, even in that context, even when you frame it. That's why, quite frankly, I got to be honest with you. When I read John Laban's book about the land being, the 9 Kosovo wars and the frontier wars, when I read the book, it's perfectly fine. It's an academic work, and I didn't take any offense. This was the term at the time. It was a vernacular, but I was shocked that he can publish those things and no one accuses him of being racist because he's not a racist. It's an academic work, but in speech, people should know better. You can't say that sort of thing. Yep. Journalists in this country work so hard to destroy South Africa. Yeah. Listen, Christoph, I know. Look, I've said this before. I was at the multi-party charter, and I met many journalists there, mostly really good people, but some very lazy professionals, some whiny professionals. I was absolutely shocked to hear some of the nonsense. Well, if the DA was running this, we'd be gone already. It's past 4 o'clock. Oh, I didn't like what they offered for lunch. They should have offered more. You're not there to get a free lunch. You're not there to go home when you want to. You're a journalist. It's a breaking story. This is a major historical event. You shut up. You do the work. What you do is you bring a book. You bring your phone. You bring your laptop. You work. When you're not needed, you work. You look for other stories to file. You look for other things. You research. You make use of the time. You don't sit around and chew the fat. This is unbelievable. There are real journalists in South Africa, but not a lot of them. I mean, even some of these trashy publications have decent journalists, and people try really hard. Like that Robin Lee Frank or whatever her name is, She tries right, and then the Jolene Maharaj, they try pretty hard to do genuine news stories on the IOL. Yeah, and then someone mentioned Paulie van Wyk the other day. I mean, she does a pretty good job too. At is it Daily Maverick or News 24? What the hell is Republican? I don't know, but I don't understand. That's what I'm asking. Pablo, why do you say I don't like to hear it? I don't know what you're talking about. Why? You don't know anything, man. You're just making a statement. I never said that. RJ says if Ronaldo's a racist, as IOL alleged, expose him. But if your allegations, yeah. So again, it comes back to what's a racist, right? That's what it ultimately comes back to. What is a racist, right? And what is stupid things? People say stupid bigotry is what people are often guilty of. People are bigot, but some bigotry is good. We're alive because we have bigotry. Hello, kitty, kitty, kitty. Oh. No, saber-toothed cat. Don't go near them. Yep. The troll showed up. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, bigotry is necessary. It's not always evil, but most of what is called racism is actually just bigotry, inappropriate bigotry, being biased against somebody because you're ignorant and don't know better. Yep. Don't start asking what a woman is now. No, I didn't ask what a woman is. I think I can identify a woman. Yep. Although, did you guys see the... let me ask this question. This is not related to this at all, but let me ask this question. Let's see if I can find this real quick. Here it is. This is the Sports Illustrated cover, okay? This is Iona Mahler, who is the Sevens star, although she nearly cost us a medal. Her cock-ups in the semifinal and then in the bronze medal game cost us dearly. But we overcame her mistakes. She may be a reason why the women got there, but she nearly cost us a medal in the end. So this is Ilona Mahler. She is on the cover of the swimsuit edition of Sports Illustrated. And they say, Beast, Beauty, Brains. Ilona Mahler, U.S. Women's National Rugby Team Olympic bronze medalist. So, what do you think of that? Is that sexy? Is that appropriate? It's a swimsuit edition. Yeah, anyway. So, just saying. Saw that. She nearly cost us the Olympics. We got a medal despite her, in spite of her. Now, that's not a popular opinion. The people that follow that team around, they're sycophantic lunatics. I remember I was in Belfast, and at the Women's World Cup in 2017, and the Americans, a couple of players were playing very poorly, and I was cheering like, hey, come on, man. Something. I wasn't attacking them personally. I'm just saying, hey, oh my gosh, you should have seen the abusive behavior of people behind me, Americans of a certain gender and a certain sexual orientation, who lost their minds over that. And the players that I was commenting on weren't even of a certain persuasion or sexual orientation. Anyway, crazy stuff. Yeah, Matt Walsh. I didn't see that. Okay. Awe Mensa. I'm here watching from the beginning. Okay. Welcome, Matthew. So, Pablo Charlie's asked me a question. Do I think an alliance between the Patriotic Alliance, Freedom Front Plus, Action SA, and ACDP and focus on getting rural voters will be better than what we have now? Well, you can focus on rural voters, but you're not going to get them. The PA gets its strength from colored voters in the Western Cape in peri-urban and urban centers. The Freedom Front Plus gets its support overwhelmingly from rural voters who are white. Action SA gets its support from black South Africans and white South Africans who live in urban centers. And the ACDP gets its support primarily in the Western Cape through devout Christians. There's not enough people in the rural areas that will join that coalition. It's not going to happen. So IOL will not get a fine or jail time or some slap from the press ombudsman or just a stir or warning. Well, to my knowledge, there's nothing really they can do to them other than getting their license to publish suspended. I mean, that's probably what they can do. But the IOL has a period of time to appeal, and that's what they're doing. But what I'm saying is there was no need to put this op-ed out saying, we're not going to, no apology. That was unnecessary. That's gratuitous. All they had to do was file an appeal. Go to the press ombudsman and say, we disagree. Put those things in there. Cite the reasons why. I mean, look, the press ombudsman's response was pretty thorough. I mean, it wasn't, I mean, it's not, where's, I got it here somewhere. I had it up. There it is, the press ombudsman. I mean, section, paragraph 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.7, it's just on and on and on and on. They got a summary of the article of what was said. Then they make the arguments from Renaldo. You see the argument here. And then you have the IOL's response. Multiple cases here. They say respondent further rejects the claim the IOL had downloaded the full clip of the video before it published the article. Well, there's no way for the press counsel to confirm that that's true. So they have to accept the IOL's position. Now, a court of law, the police, a warrant could in fact determine if that's true. They maintain that it only received the 15-second clip, and then even then, it did not take the clip at face value, but conducted its own investigation to establish its veracity before it approached the complainant to confirm its authenticity. So, okay, so the IOL only received the 15-second. This beggars the question too. They maintain they only received a 15-second clip, and that they didn't take the clip at face value. But they conducted their own investigation to establish its veracity before they approached Renaldo for its authenticity. So, what exactly was that investigation? How did they determine it was valid? Did they look at the metadata of the video and follow the path where it had been copied and stored back and forth? Yeah, they don't offer how they did that, but they get a free pass because this is not a law enforcement agency. They say that he denied ever having made such a video and claimed it was either generated or manipulated through AI. His response was carried in full in the article. Okay. The IOL argues the complainant claims the clip was part of a longer video, which it is. And they say that only verifies the clip's authenticity and brings into question his initial response that it's somehow been manipulated. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. The video is manipulated. It's altered. It's edited. The portion before, the portion after, when he said he didn't believe anything he just stated, is not there. So it doesn't serve to verify the clip's authenticity and question his initial response. It confirms his initial response. This is the stupidity. This is the 1984 world that these people live in. They submit that they gave him a tight timeline to respond to the queries because rumors of the clip have been circulating on social media because his profile as a DA member and made the story even more newsworthy. But it doesn't. As a DA member, why does that role as a DA member make it more newsworthy? Why is it even more newsworthy than Action SA or ACDP or the ANC? It's not. And it's not timely. Rumors it was on social media. The video has been exposed in 2012 and again in 2019. This wasn't news. These are lies. And they got away with it. It adds that even though the complaint was initially given a 2 p.m. deadline, the story is only published around 6 p.m. We wanted to be sure we had all the elements of the story. Well, he doesn't know that. You gave him a 2 p.m. deadline. He responded without the video. All you did was send a screen capture after he initially refused to respond. This is unbelievable. These people are juveniles. This is an argument that a 12-year-old would make in junior high school. They contend that their updated articles are enough and furthermore maintains that this initial article was complete. No, it wasn't. How can you can argue their initial article was complete when you admit that you didn't publish the whole video? Then they have Renaldo's response to that. And then they come down after that with analysis. Long analysis, their findings. And so I'm going to copy all the text and paste this in a Word document. See how many pages it comes out to, okay? Select all. Where the heck is edit, select all? Oh, it's not a Word document. I can't do that. I got to do this here. Okay, so Let's put this in a Word document. See how many pages it comes out to be in formatted. So it's not short. There we go. Okay, copy. Get a Word document going here. Word, new. Well, there'll be spacing issues here, so I'll take that into account. All right, so. All right, even though it's single space, not double space, it comes out at 3 full pages. Well, that's more than 3 pages. Excuse me, that's a lot more than 3 pages. Hang on. 14 pages. There you go. 14 pages. 14 pages of single spacing. That's how long this article is. They were treated unfairly. 14 pages of a Word document. Seriously? These people are high. Let me show you this, folks. You can see for yourself. I'm not making this up. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to show you. This is, here you go. 14 pages. 6,062 words, but that includes the URL for the video. So there you go. Look at this. 14 pages. Where am I at now? I'm on page 4 of 14. Look at this. And they were treated unfairly. It wasn't investigated fully. From June until the end of August when this thing was finally published. 2 months of investigation. And the IOL was actually given a free pass. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the allegations were dismissed because they couldn't prove them. But the other 4 were upheld. And this is, look at this, single spacing. 14 pages. Oh yeah, they were treated unfairly. This was a rush to judgment. No, it wasn't. This is nonsense. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. All right, cool beans, folks. What time is it now? It's 10 after. Need Chris some whiskey. Life is much better with good whiskey. All right, well, I was going to just ignore this, but I'll state the obvious for N. N, the IOL, has a license to operate as a media house in South Africa. There is a press council which upholds standards of journalistic integrity. Press voluntarily agreed to uphold these standards of objectivity, transparency, fairness. They have been found in breach of these things. Therefore, they have an obligation to make it right. You know the answer to that. You're just coming here with your black supremacy argument. I don't know why you come here, man. Can't you just, don't you have, a group of friends you like to hang out with and spew your bizarre worldviews? Anti-white. People here come here for everyone, not just one group of people. Anyway. All right, that's it. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I got to go pick up some steamed crabs. A treat after a long week. Thanks a lot. It's Labor Day weekend here in the United States, a big holiday weekend extending into Monday. And also, it is the anniversary of the end of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Let me just bring that up before I go. I want to talk about that very quickly. Let me see if I can find this. Where the hell's it at? There it is. Okay, so on March 20th, 2003, President George Walker Bush announced that U.S. forces had begun military operations into Iraq. Within 3 weeks, in a lightning blitz, greatly outnumbered coalition forces quickly overwhelmed the Iraqi army. On April 9th, 2003, Iraqi civilians and U.S. soldiers pulled down a statue of Saddam Hussein in Baghdad's Firdaus Square. The symbolic toppling of the Saddam Hussein regime was complete. On May 1st, 2003, President Bush declared the end of major combat operations in Iraq from the deck of the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln. If I recall, it was in San Diego. Unfortunately, Republican guards and others personally loyal to Saddam Hussein quickly coalesced and formed the nucleus for what would prove to be a years-long insurgency with deadly consequences, especially for Iraqi civilians. President Obama declared an end to combat operations effective August 31st, not August 30th, August 31st, tomorrow. August 31st, 2010. After more than 7 years of war, 4,400 U.S. military killed in action, 32,000 wounded in action, and tens of thousands of Iraqi civilians killed, the United States officially ended its combat mission in Iraq on August 31st, 2010. Operation Iraqi Freedom was one of the most expensive conflicts in American history and resulted in more casualties for our military than any operation since the Vietnam War. Of the more than 3,600,000 U.S. military veterans since September 11th, 2001, there are 1.9 million veterans of Operations Enduring Freedom and Iraqi Freedom. As one of those veterans, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of those for your sacrifice and loss in serving and over 3 million tours of duty in those operations. There you have it, folks. It's tomorrow. What did you miss about Renaldo? No, Jan, I didn't expect anybody was going to apologize, but this is just cheeky. Again, let's just, before I go away, there's no reason for the IOL to run this op-ed. The story is getting no attention. The only person on the planet, well, I think Byron's mentioned it now too, that's actually talking about the press council sanctioning the independent line for its breach of the press code on 4 different occasions at a minimum is me. No press houses in South Africa covering the story. It's dead. They don't want to cover it because they're not interested in the truth. The IOL claims it's interested in the truth. If it was interested in the truth, then they would just accept what they did wrong. But instead, they run an op-ed in all caps, no apology. Yeah, they could have simply filed an appeal with the press council, and that would have been it. Worst case scenario, and all it goes bad for Renaldo and he decides to leave. Would the U.S. allow him in with his say? We don't give a crap about that. There's nothing to it. It's just a bogus allegation by someone. There's nothing hanging over Renaldo's head. He's committed no crime. Anyway, all right, that's it. So why wouldn't he be allowed in the U.S.? But you have to get a visa, just like everyone else. South Africa, you have to get a visa to come here. The temperature in my studio. It's not the temperature outside. Outside, it's about that temperature actually right now. It's actually lower because of the rain. That is the temperature, correct. 23 that's in Celsius. Yep. Anyway. All right, that's it, folks. I got to run, collect my steamed crabs, and try to enjoy my evening. Thanks a lot. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got the Sharks, and we've got the Griffins. Sharks with the Griffins, and then we've also got the Springboks and the All Blacks over on Rugby Senate. Thanks a lot. Have a good day. Take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. God bless. And thanks for tuning in. Be sure to leave a like if you don't mind before you walk out the door. Would appreciate that. Hey, and you can leave a like too if you don't mind. Did they ever find weapons of mass destruction? See, people try to pull this stuff at the end. Yes, they did, Kevin. Yes, they did. And see, that's the lie that's never refuted. I refute it from the very beginning. The Scud missile is deemed to be a weapon of mass destruction. Ballistic missile. The Scud missiles were fired into Kuwait by the Iraqis in the first 24 hours, 36 hours of the conflict. They were banned from possessing Scud missiles or launchers by the United Nations Security Council resolutions, 17 resolutions telling them they couldn't do those things. Yes, they are weapons of mass destruction. Did they find nuclear weapons? No. Did they find chemical weapons? No. The Iraqis had used them all up by the time they were there, the chemical weapons. So, yes, they did find weapons of mass destruction. Statement of fact. The problem is that it wasn't the sexy weapons of mass destruction that they foolishly used to make the argument go. Yes, Scuds hit Tel Aviv. That's correct. That is correct. All right. Cheers, folks. Bye-bye. See you later. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.